All right, I want to go over with you how you can analyze your data from the student survey, from the class survey that is, on Excel. So I asked you to kind of get all this information out, basically just kind of getting to the upper and lower confidence interval for each question. I just want to show you how you can get that information. So I have it here and I'm going to break it down. So you made your predictions right here, which was great. Okay, we have that. And here's the mean, here's proportion. Then we need to find the average and the p-hat. Now, for an average, let's just do the mean problem first. It's not that bad. You just do your typical equals average, and you go ahead and you just highlight your data for that. And it's not too bad. You need to know the actual number you have. We always want to actually know our sample size. So what we need to do for that is to actually count the number of cells with numbers in it to figure out how many data cells you have. We just click count. We go over to data, and I'm actually at the bottom, so I'm just going to go Control-Shift up this time instead. And I'm not going to worry about the fact that it highlighted this cell because this cell actually has words in it. I'm asking with count, I'm asking it to only count numbers, and you can see it came up with 59. Now for standard deviation, when we're dealing with mean problems, it's just simply standard deviation with that S for samples. So you can see I've actually put some of the functions that you need right here. So we're doing standard deviation for sample set, and again you just highlight your data. Control-Shift down, boom. Okay, so now I've got all that. Now I need my margin of error. Okay, so our margin of error is always our z-score times our standard deviation. So if you look at that, if I'm doing a 95% interval, the 95% confidence interval, that's a z-score of 1.96, and I simply multiply that by my standard deviation, and there you go. For my upper confidence interval, all I need to do is simply take that mean right here, so here was our average, and I add it to my margin of error. And then I do, for the lower one, I just subtract it. So the mean's pretty basic. The proportion one is a little harder. So you make your prediction, then we get our n. Now here, to figure out the number of items that you actually have, you can't use count, because if you actually look at the data set, the question for proportions is in yeses and nos. Those are words, so I need to count how many words. And you might say, but it's the same numbers over here, but sometimes when you clean your data, you'll actually will not have the exact same number. So I want to make sure that I actually have the same number. So for here, when I'm counting the number of cells with words in it, I use count A instead. So count A, and you just, whoops, go ahead and count that pretty quick. All right. Now, standard error is a little harder because we have that much more complicated equation where it's a square root of p times 1 minus p over n. So I actually have to program that in there. So I'm going to be doing square root. So square root is SQRT. You can see it right over here. So that's square root. Now I've got to do my p, which I actually have right here, times, now on Excel you can't just write the parentheses, you always have to put that little multiplication, that little star asterisk there. 1 minus, again I reference that, p hat. Please always reference that number because remember it extends out longer. You want to capture the entire number. Then I divide it by n, which I have here. Ooh, that's the wrong n, but I think it was 59. We'll fix that to get the right one. Close it, boom. And there you have your margin of error. However, I need to just quickly fix this. I can see the problem right away. When I highlighted it, I didn't highlight all of the data. So if I just go over here back to data, Control-Shift down, I should get it this time. Now it's 59, and with that, the standard error adjusted. My margin of error is simply going to be, you can see it right here, 1.96 for the 95% times that standard error, and then for upper and lower confidence interval, you simply take your p-hat and add it to your standard error, and then p-hat is subtracted from your standard error. All right, I hope that's helpful.